I think first and foremost, the relationships that I have with the coaching staff, of course, me and Coach Fickle, go way back with, all the way back to Columbus DeSales, high school. Me and Mike Tressel go back to being at Michigan State together. So the relationships definitely played a big part in that.
Kind of going off that. From the outside looking in, it looks like you took the most out of it. From going defense coordinator to cornerback coach. Is the relationship like, I don't know, it seems like a weird move to make.
For me, again, I've been in this profession for a long time. This is year, 28, 29 for me. So who I'm working with and who I'm working for is a big part of why I do what I do. So that relationship runs super deep, and it was important to me.
There you are.
Just what your recruiting approach has been in the short time you've been here, what you'd like to sell to recruits or pitch, and what the feedback has been this far.
I think Wisconsin has a huge brand. I think that's the one thing when you walk into every high school, they recognize that W. And it's not that way everywhere, so I think it's a huge brand. You talk about Big Ten education, you talk about chance to win, a lot of tradition, it has all of that. So it's an easy pitch, for kids. One of the first questions you ask is, what do you know about Wisconsin? And there's a lot that the kids know about Wisconsin. If I'm talking to a kid all the way in Florida, if I'm talking to a kid in the Midwest.
It's a little weird though, walking in maybe the same high school you were in last year, and you're talking about Minnesota, and then now you're talking about Wisconsin, and obviously rivals. Is it a little weird?
That's always kind of anywhere that you switch. Definitely when you go from rival schools, it's a little bit more. But again, if you just sell the product, you sell your product. I sold that product last year, now I'm selling this product now.
For the longest time, you had a secondary coach, and now you're in more and more teams, corner and safety. What in your mind do you like about that breakup, just corner and just safety?
I think both of those positions are so unique. They do different things. They do same things, but then they do different things. So anytime that a guy has them all in the past that I've had, you had a GA that did something. Now you got two coaches, two actual position coaches that are dealing with that, individual, the technique, the preparation, everything is a little bit different. So that's what I think is important in that. And even when I was a head coach, we had two. I always had two. I've had them by myself before, but I always had a GA, or somebody that worked with me that during individual, they took the corners or they took the safeties. So you got to have a reliable GA or somebody that you trust to sit there and take those guys.
And now with the safety coach and the corners coach, how valuable or how critical is the communication between the two assistants? And so everybody knows what they're doing and it works together.
Yeah, me and Coach Hitch, again, work well together. Sometimes he takes left, I take right, type of thing. We meet like crazy. That's exactly why I'm late. We were sitting up there meeting, just going over every little, specific thing about our defense. So everybody is on the same page, because one of the worst things that you can do, especially when you're coming new and you're coming as a new staff coming together, is to have to go back and reteach it because you didn't really, as a coach understanding, the kids start asking questions. So we spend a lot of time with going over every little detail so everybody is speaking the same language.
I'm sure you're still learning a lot about your guys in your room, but what do you like about what you have with kind of some experienced guys, but also quite a few younger guys?
Yeah, I think the work ethic, they work. That's the one thing about them is that they work. You don't have to ask them to do a lot of things in the push, effort. We always are asking for more, I think they'll always will never hit that ceiling that we want, but they do give great effort.
You've had a lot of prior stops in this conference, so what do you look for specifically in a Big Ten cornerback?
A guy that competes. I think you have to be able to compete. I think you have to be a smart, kid. But I think the competing is the biggest. I tell the guys all the time, we're going to do a good job, and this is everywhere. Everybody does a good job of stopping the run. This is a conference that you got to stop the run, because if you don't stop the run, you don't have a chance. But the games are won with explosive pass plays. So that's where it comes down to us. We got to make sure we do a great job of not giving up explosive pass plays.
You mentioned your relationship with Coach Tressel back to high school. What do you remember about him back in those days?
Well, we weren't at high school together. I'm sure if he talks to you guys about me, he would tell you that I'm much older, right? So we were never there together, but he watched me play, and then I watched him play. And then, of course, just watched him in college and playing and stuff like that. But, he has always been a tough, a tough guy, and not fake tough. There's the difference of the fake tough, but he's a real tough guy, and there's just, there's a lot of stories and stories and stories, but, I'll hold those for when I need them. I'll hold those for when I need them, but just a genuine dude, just a genuine tough guy, hard-working guy, and just a blue-collar guy. That's what he is.
You mentioned working with Coach Haynes earlier. A lot of guys on defense, the staff, they work together in the past before. How important is that familiarity for defensive staff?
I think it's. I think you have positive and negatives to it too. The positive of it, that you get guys who know the language and they know the system. When you get other guys coming in, you get other ideas also too, and other ways that you can do it. And I think everybody on staff has been coaching for a long period of time. I mean, there's only a certain ways you can do cover 3, cover 2, whatever. But I think the way that you sit there and you hear people, the way that they use how to teach it, maybe a little bit different in the verbiage that they use to teach it. I think that's what you continue to gain as you earn this profession longer and longer.
One of the things this previous coaching staff focused on with its secondaries versatility, guys are a lot of different spots.
Yeah.
What's your philosophy on coaching trainers and dual guys with a very slide all over, or is there a certain number? And they also rotate a bunch of different guys.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit different in that way, because I think it's good that you can have it. Our corner will play also nickel, and our nickel will play, corner. But I think when you sit there and you can have guys who play field corner, boundary corner, that plays boundary corner, because it's different. Now we'll train everybody, in the spring to do maybe a little bit both and try to find out who the best guys are competitively. But once we figure out who is who, we like for them to master that position.
You mentioned your head coaching experience before. What do you think that's done for you in your time since as a coach? Like, what kind of perspective does that give you?
I think the biggest thing is you big picture thinking. I think when you are an assistant coach, you worry about that position. When you're a coordinator, you worry about that side. Until you sit into that chair and you have to deal with everything and every kid and every situation, it's hard to be a big picture thinker. And I think when the head coach makes a decision about something, where a lot of assistants be like, well, why are we doing that? Why are you kind of get it? Because it's what's big picture and what's best for the team, instead of just a offense, defense, whatever, position-wise. So big picture thinking.
You faced the old Wisconsin offense several times.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of a challenge do you think this new presented for teams?
I haven't seen it yet, so
You're kind of aware of a little bit what's going to be here.
I think anytime that you have a up-tempo offense and things like that, I think it always poses problems for you to be disciplined defensively, and that's what it comes down to. I think the beauty of what we have is we also have a great running back that adds to that fold, that in the past, again, going against them, that you can load the box, and make sure that you do and make sure you stop it. Now, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for guys to do that.
What stood out when you coached against Braylon? What stood out when you coached against Braylon?
He's big. You better go low. You know, that was a big thing. You know, he's a big, powerful back. But shoot, all of my years, ever since 2005, playing against these guys, that's what it's always been. That you had a big, powerful back. That you knew it was going to be a physical, tough game against Wisconsin.
You mentioned the work ethic your group has. Alex Anderson-Smith's a guy that's been here for a long time. He came back for a sixth season. What have you learned about him in your short time with him? What do you expect out of him?
I think he's a great leader. I mean, he's a guy that he's kind of like my assistant coach a little bit. There's a lot of times that he will text a group. We got a group text, and you know, of course, I sit there and I start reading it, and it's just him getting those guys together. We're gonna do this on this day. We're gonna do this on this day. You know, I'm over here working out. Anybody else want to come over? You know, come on and work out with me. So he's an awesome leader to get the guys together because you know we are, you know, we got some experience, but we're still a young group also too. But he's done a great job with that.
Kind of on the other side of that, the most recent recruiting class out of a handful of DBs that came from like you have the guys that can develop.
Again, I think that they're tough, competitive kids. You know, we're it's kind of a little bit. You're still trying to in that phase of learning each other. They're learning me, and I'm learning them. You know, they're pleasers, of course. Kids are pleasers, so they are trying to do every single thing that I say, and they're trying to do it like with a serious mentality. I tell them, man, we gotta lighten up. Like, I mean, our guys are like they're just stiff. You know, some of the times I'm like, guys, just chill out, lighten up. It'll get, you know, breathe a little bit. But you know, but they're pleasers. So we're still trying to learn each other. We're still trying to get to know each other. But I love how they work, and I love how they compete.
You mentioned your experience with Mike Tressel, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the qualities in your mind that make him a good defensive player?
Mike is very focused. He's a competitor. Of course, you know, I coached for his uncle Jim Tressel, who was the same. Like a very you wouldn't have known how competitive he was, because if you see him mild-mannered, that's kind of how Mike is. Mike is very mild-mannered, but he's a very competitive kid, and he knows how to command the room. You know, we go back and forth on a lot of different things a lot of times, and some of the times it may get a little hostile, but Mike knows how to bring us back and get us focused on what the task at hand is. And unbelievable quality to sit there and do that. You know, during the games it's kind of the same thing. When things are a little bit hectic and everybody starts to get a little bit out of kind of control a little bit, he has a great way of bringing everybody back and calming everybody down, player-wise and coach-wise, to get us back focused on what we need to make sure we concentrate on.
You left Minnesota, any temptation to try to steal the axe, or was that under lock and key in our regard?
We'll get the axe back the way we need to get the axe back on the field.
I have visions of your former boss
Yeah,
protecting it.
Yeah. We'll get it back on the field.
That kind of recruiting and just with what Mike and others are trying to do, Kyle trying to do to this defense.
Yeah.
They talked about meshing the elite a month or two ago. Just how will that affect your recruiting within that cornerback room, or what you've done at Minnesota and other places?
I think I don't know if it's any different. I think the big thing, again, when you're looking at cornerbacks, is just a kid that's competitive. You know, body types and all of that. You know, a lot of people like the tall guys, short guys, whatever. To me, it's more about the intangibles a little bit more than size. Now, again, you don't want the whole room with size of the same size and everything, but I think the biggest piece is the competitive drive and, you know, of course, a good kid and things like that. But that's the things that I look for a little bit more than how fast he is, how tall he is, how much he weighs. All right, appreciate it. Thank you, guys.